Popping right now. Sorry, run this show last minute. We'll get this back going on schedule starting this week. For sure. Oh shit, I forgot to mix that fucking thing. Hold on. That was gross. Let me find where I'm playing this music from. Okay. Should be good to go. Hold on, just a few more seconds, making sure this chart looking right. Cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, and not 1, I guess. And 1. There we go. Okay. Yeah, sorry, last minute kind of stream here going on. Just, real abrupt, whatever you want to call it. My apologies on that. Need to be better scheduling them and staying locked in on that schedule. It's just everything's so freaking erratic sometimes in life. It's hard to plan things sometimes. Anyways, so let's run this real quick. We're going to cover the high time frame charts on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if there's any users here, on DXY, if there's any users in here, viewers, whatever you want to call them, we'll probably cover 1 or 2 charts if they request. So, I guess you've been following me for quite some time, or not. I've been on the idea and concept that from this low here, we started an impulse, right? And that has so far has definitely played out. So, now the question begs: is it part of this bearish structure here, which I had initially thought at the very beginning, which it will be an ABC, like this, A, B, C. Ignore this for now. Delete that, like this. And I thought this entire idea was going to turn into a giant A, B, C. That was my very, 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 very first initial idea, concept. Right? And it still could be valid, but I'll tell you right now, in the coming days, I think we're going to really figure out if this will play out or not. I'm still I'm hesitant to say that it will. I honestly, at first I really thought it was, but as time keeps progressing, as I see things happening around the world, just in the ground macro aspects of things, like, even with the idea of the USA like banning stablecoins like CDC and like Tether and all that stuff, I even think that'll even cause a catalyst in the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum alike, because people are gonna have two options. You're gonna either totally abandon ship and go back to fiat, or they're gonna buy Bitcoin. And even if they were to straight up go to fiat and abandon cryptocurrency and give up on it at the end concept because, you know, the governments are making it so fucking difficult to use it nowadays, they still have to convert that USDT or CDC, whatever you want to call it, to like a crypto, right? As far as I know, in most exchanges, you can't just exchange USDT to USD. You have to sell it off. You have to transfer it into a Bitcoin or Ethereum, then sell it off to USD, and then do that transfer from, you know, wire transfer, whatever. Or in a lot of cases, you have to sell it into Bitcoin and then send it over to a third-party app, and then from there, you know, at that third-party app like Cash App or I don't know if Venmo allows for withdrawals. I know Cash App does. And even from there, you know, you have to buy Bitcoin from the USD or USDC, send it to that account. And so all that, even though it sounds very bearish and parable for us, I still think that'll be a catalyst in terms of the price. I really care for the grand scheme of things in terms of cryptocurrency, and I really want it to succeed. I really do think it will eventually. I think over time people are going to understand that, you know, what the governments are doing is bullshit, and eventually it's just the tide will turn. You know, it'll shift at some point. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but it will happen. So like in the grand scheme of things, I really do like believe in cryptocurrency and stuff like that. But so even with like the USA banning all the shit and saying all like we can't use stablecoins and you want to put all these sanctions, I think that's going to still catalyze and accelerate this entire thing if that actually does happen like that. So that's why I was, you know, back in my mind, I was like, maybe we aren't exactly in this flat. And then I saw a chart from some pretty respectable people that I really tend to, I don't always agree with them, but like I do pay respect to what they say, especially since it's what, you know, it's from LA Web International. So they depict this low as a low of the entire move of like a 5-way pattern to some degree. I know they're charting Bitcoin, so Bitcoin's a little bit more of a different structure. They had this as, you know, one, which is very plausible. I won't argue it, honestly. It's very plausible. I don't know exactly how they had it, but they had it as this is an NE5, which I get, you know, it's plausible. When I first looked at the chart, I didn't really like that count, just because of structures in this lower end, especially since this from this high to this low, like it really looks like a 5-way pattern in my opinion. So like for me, it was just really hard to say that was that, and even still, like it's like very questionable. So, all I'm trying to say is there is at this very moment when price is where it's at, we really don't have a strong understanding what exactly is the pattern. So say if we were to retrace this week like this, like just go like this, we wouldn't really know what was going to happen in terms of like Elliott wave, because both sides are very much, in my opinion, likely to happen. I think it's a very split type of concept right now at this very moment if we were to retrace right now, because that means this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and then we rebound for, you know, either a C wave or wave 3, or this is 1, 2, and then we nuked 3, 4, and then, you know, make new lows. You know, we wouldn't know. So what I really hope is going to happen, which, and I am leaning this way, is this wave 5 is going to extend. If this wave 5 does extend, I hardly doubt that this low will be broken this year, or it would take at least to the end of the year, or even longer. That's just the way I see things. Because if this is truly going to be a C wave, and like an ending C wave for this big ABC, we should not have a double extension. That's too impulsive, in my opinion, and from like what I've read in the books, and what you should expect from a C wave. So if that does happen, if we get a double extension, I guarantee you we will, this divergence we're seeing will get blasted through, and it will be like a double top type of divergence, which is not a strong. It's a divergence in terms of like you probably get a momentary reversal, but it's not a strong type of divergence to say that your entire trend is going to shift. When your entire trend shifts, you usually get these negatives to neutrals, and then it breaks negative again, or negative to negative, as this here. So made that sell off there and went negative to negative, right? So again, if we were to break from this level, that would open up the door for that possibility, and we just have to really understand how price and time work and really judge it on that aspect. As of right now, though, how we're consolidating up here and the time it's taking to consolidate up here, I really do believe this is it's going to have a double extension. And if that happens, that confirms, in my opinion, in the most logical type of scenario, that we are in that intermediate phase now. This is A. I don't care how you want to label it. You can say it's 1, 2, 3, 5, WXY, XZ. I don't care. If we do this double extension, I am calling the low, this low right here, this white line, the low of this entire down structure. And therefore, we could have some expectations of when and where we could see price go. And again, the people at Elliott Wave International have this as a 1 through 5 is arguable, very arguable. I do see it's possible, especially with this last final structure here on ETH, kind of looking like an expanding ending diagonal. And this initial move from this low side to this high side here for wave 1 in green, that's a leading expanding diagonal. So they're not as rare as one may think. And this fits the criteria where wave 5 is the longest. It also does not touch the lower boundary of connected wave 1 to wave 3 low. Did not hit the lower boundary. Those are two really big signs that this could actually be a truncation wave 5, and especially since Bitcoin made a new low. So again, I really do think that with the time being addressed here, and the consolidation is taking, this really seems like we're going to move higher rather than lower. And if that does happen, this is what we're going to be looking for in terms of time. This entire structure should, at a bare minimum, be a three-way pattern that will take us, and we already know if we break higher, it'll hit this little purple box area, and it won't be a logical X wave because it's a five-way pattern. Sorry. So if it's a five-way pattern, we can already assume two things. It's going to be an ABC zigzag, or it's actually going to be something even more incredible. It's going to be a 1 through 5 impulse, right? We really don't know. We can only assume what could happen. Okay? But what we do know is rules. So at a bare minimum, we should expect a any adjacent move to be within a 1/3 of a 1-to-1, or at least 1/3 of the entire price structure, and both price or time, but it doesn't have to be both. At least one of price or time. So here's 1/3, the gap of 1/3 of time. So logically, at a bare minimum, we should never expect, if we assume this low is the actual low of this structure we're analyzing, in order for it to be a valid counter structure, for a B wave or anything like that, it must make a logical pattern within certain confines of price and time. Here's the time aspect. If we make a flyway pattern that drives into this degree of time, we know that this move's not done. Not only that, but it's a 5-way pattern. And again, this is only if we just where we're siding with the very bullish side, which I want to believe. And if we do rally higher throughout this week like this, I am 100% on this idea that this is an A wave or a wave 1. We're going to retrace for a 3-wave B, or if this turns into a triangle, we know it's a B wave and we should sell the C wave like this. If it just turns into a simple 3-wave pattern, then that's going to keep the door open for many things that could possibly happen. But this is what I'm going through in my head right now. This is what I'm thinking. Throughout the week, we're going to rally up through this, confirming this expanding, this double extension wave, this initial impulse. If this double extension happens, that's very illogical for an ending C wave to have. That's too impulsive in my opinion. It seems just way too impulsive. From everything I've read in the book, it just seems way too impulsive. In this understanding of market analysis, which is Elliott wave, which there's not a lot of good fucking people who do it the correct way. So you have to be very mindful of price time structure. Most people don't understand time. So if we press up this and structure again, and the entire psychology of it, a doubling extension and an ending C wave, that makes no sense to me. Like logically, if it's going to be a bearish or even like a bullish, depending on what your scenario is, what you're looking for, that C wave should have a double extension, because that's very impulsive. Very impulsive, like a super strong impulse. Very strong trend. If that ends up being wrong, I'll bite the bullet on this long. I'll catch down here because, like I said, if I really believe this is going to happen, we're going to rally up to 1800. I don't know what exactly is going to happen here, but if this price structure is a wave 1 and we're consolidating in a 2, we already have some ideas that if wave 3 is not going to be the shortest, but often is the longest, we know it's going to at least be a 1-to-1 of this structure. And at a normal idea, this area here, which I don't really believe is going to get that high, I think wave 1 will be the longest when it's all said and done. It's like this probably. And it won't. If we don't break this high, guys, I'll be even more bullish going throughout the year. And I'll tell you why. Because that's going to leave a whole bunch of suckers thinking that the price turns here. You can go 3, 4, 5, and then hard drop, right? Turns here, leaving that these stops still there from this short, and then these people here shorting this are going to put their stops right there too, and they're just going to be on a high time frame type of trade, like a high time frame type of swing trade, and all of a sudden price just rallies, takes that liquidity out, and that's where the money's at. So in the way I'm interpreting this chart, and Bitcoin too, like we don't have to really talk about Bitcoin honestly, because they're doing the same thing structurally, and they will do the same thing structurally until like major changes happen to the ecosystem, which I don't know if that will really happen like that in anytime soon or anything like that. So at the bare bones of the thing, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I personally believe if we continue to sustain 1632 on the close on a 4-hour time frame on the ETH+USD, we're going to rally and at a minimum hit, I'll say 1900 at a minimum, with a maximum being 2200. If we break the high of 2026 I'll be more inclined to think we could be more bearish, and this might actually be a double extension in the wave C. Again, it's all will be determined on how we retrace in the amount of time and what pivots we break and how we react off those pivots. But for now, we have a very good understanding of what could happen, and which either side happens, we will have a very strong and confident way in how to maneuver ourselves within that market. Okay? And again, if we just nuke from here, we're more inclined to think that we're just gonna keep going down. That's my opinion. It could still do that, but I personally would only be really confident on a large degree impulsive upside or like corrective structured upside if we just make this double extension here. And typically if you make a double extension, your wave 5 will be similar to wave 3, either 0.6, 0.7, 1 to 1. And the most extreme states have 1, 2, 3. So our hotspot's going to be right here. Right where I'm assuming we would find a top if this does happen. And in my opinion, if this does happen in this way, we will be more bullish on our pullback. Because, again, like I said, the market, all this market's trying to do is bait people to leave their money there so they could go take it at some point in time. That's all it's trying to do. That's all it's trying to do. Whether it's with setups or looks, fake outs, whatever you want to call them. All they're trying to do is set you up to take your money. That's what the market's trying to do. So if you could think like that, how will a normal person think about taking that trade like right here? Where will they put their stops? You know, since this high hasn't been cleared, if we don't clear that high again and make a good retrace and break that low at 1480, we know what they're doing. They're baiting them. Set your stops here. I dare you to. I dare you to. So, I really hope what happens is that we rally, make this double extension, hold 1950, absolutely do not break 2028 or 2025, even on a wick. I do not want the high to be broken, to be very confident in my idea. We could break that high, but then if we do, we have to be honest with ourselves and respect that this could very well still be this giant ABC, with this being the top of B of this C wave here, like this. So if we do this, we really are on 50-50 alert that it could go like this or like this. It all depends on how this rebound, the first rebound happens on the first retrace. No matter what, this should be violent, but on a wave 1 or a wave A, it'll be violent, and it should take out this entire move in less time and complexity. For sure. It 100% will do that. Then what will determine if what's going to happen is the bounce after that. If we stay below, certain pivot levels, certain Fibonacci retracements, we have to start thinking more bearishly. If we recover those levels, gain them again as support, obviously we're going to be thinking more bullishly. So it's all on understanding what price is doing, and also understanding where price wants to go and how the market wants to set people up. So that's the idea and concept going through this week, in my opinion. Again, I only want to cover the high time frame, daily, 4-hour time frame. Right now, the daily is working on a hidden divergence that played out. We had a 0, we had a 1, and a 2. I'll consider this 1 here, like this. 0, 1, and this is 2. So this high is here. So let's zoom into the 4-hour time frame. Let's mark out some pivots here. So I think the important pivot, the initial pivot that told us that we're going to be bullish on that break off that divergence would be this one. But we're also looking at this one here. As long as, again, that's why this level is very important. So that's very important. because it matches an X pivot that we're analyzing on this hidden divergence on a daily time frame. The price truly wants to move up and continue the bullish momentum. We will continue to trade over this level. Okay. As of right now, the way this looks, and before I was about to basically, I could go to the hourly time frame and be decently confident on the structure and stuff like that. But the way this looks right now, two things. Again, if we fall out the sky and break, I wouldn't like us even closing below 1617. If we do that, if we close below 1617, we have to really start assuming that maybe this is 1, 2, and this is starting to become 3 like this, okay? We shouldn't close below this area to be bullish. We must maintain it. For right now, it looks like it could be a weird ABC like this. I personally would rather not break this low again. I think this has made enough both in price and time to say we could move up. So the way I would trade this, with the anticipation that we're going to move up, I would have to see. So it's hourly still bullish. When I zoom down on the lowest degree time frame here, I know we're getting a little too close into time and stuff like this. I saw this here. Little 1 through 5 like this, right? This is an ABC. So we know some rules about impulses. There are hot spots in this area to make a low point. You see we made the lowest point of the structure right here outside the hot spot. So logically, we'd assume we wouldn't want to buy until this makes a low in here. And if you look at the price structure right now, this kind of looks like an ABC, right? So A, B, C. As long as we hold this level on a close, which is 1670 roughly, and I'll probably line up with one level we definitely don't want to go below is the 786, which is right here. That's like the telltale sign that whatever you're looking at is not going to be what you're thinking is. You want to say closing in or above the golden box. So we could come down, wick to the 786, but as long as we close above that golden pocket, that's golden for a reversal. But if we come down here and close down here, then we anticipate it's going to keep dropping. 100% wrong would be if we get to this level, even on a retrace. It's like an 8 times out of 10 you would never hit this level, or 9 times out of 10 you would never hit this level and still make a new high or new low depending on what you're studying. Which in this aspect we're thinking is a possible new impulse. Okay? So as of right now, this looks like a little flat here. If we do push higher and break this high, then I'll probably long here, stop here, and then target that level. But for now, it could go that way. If it does, again, I'll long it. If it doesn't, then we know it's going to come here. We're going to buy that as long as we close above 1678 on, I would say, the hourly time frame. Okay? Hopefully my audio is good. Okay, I saw it. Yeah, good. So let's go to Bitcoin real quick. Much of the same thing, though, being straight, explicitly honest with you. I think this low has started something pretty aggressive. Like it could actually turn the tide for quite some time. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. The time is taking, and especially with the retrace we have made, this looks like it's building it flat up here. A little flat. Which should mean continuation. And double extension in wave 5. And another, like, not suiting, but aiding concept to this entire idea is the fact that wave 3 hit a 2.68 extension of wave 1. 2.0. Ooh. Okay, well, to hit a 2.0. So that's still pretty damn good. Because usually you hit a 1.618. That's like what usually you get. So whenever you get these super far extensions, one or two things happen, which is kind of unfortunate because they're very opposite. Either your wave 5 will be very similar to wave 1 in length, and you just immediately retrace shortly after, or you get this double extension where wave 5 mimics wave 3 in some fashion, either being 6-8, 7-8, 1-1, or at a maximum, I hardly ever see it, but like a 1-3-8, right? So we see here, wave 1 and wave 5 are very similar. It's actually a 1-1, right? Sometimes when they're that similar, it's not that you can't really trust when they're that similar. You want some difference. You don't want it to be exactly pinpoint, because that when that happens, it's like, I don't know. But Glenn always said that when things are too similar, like you're probably studying the wrong thing. Like you have to have they have to be in degree of the similarity of both price and time, but it can't be on a dot, or else you're probably studying something incorrectly. So the fact that we made a 1-1, but so far the retrace, we really didn't do anything with it. We didn't go anywhere. There's a possibility that I'm also looking at this is maybe a crazy whacked out any diagonal like this, but we'll know very shortly. Again, if we hold that level, because this looks like a 5-way pattern. It looks like this is an impulse. There's no doubt about it on Bitcoin. You cannot lie. That's an impulse. That is 100% an impulse. Now it's just trying to figure out, is it a weird ass diagonal? Which, I mean, it could be possible being this late, but to me, I feel like more pain lies up north. This sucker the last hopeful bears in, especially because of Ethereum tried this. We haven't even broke this high, right? Well, Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin briefly broke this high, right? Briefly. Yeah, just barely briefly. So I just feel like the most painful way, especially for Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin looks, would be to do this. Smash them, and then smash everybody coming in late. And that will get everybody bearish because you will sink back below this line. But psych, it's just a big old flat, and then we rally even higher. To me, this would make the most pain. And it makes the most sense to me. But again, bias, maybe, who knows. For now, we made a 5-way pattern. At a bare minimum, we should expect some things, right? At a bare minimum, if we're going to be bullish, we know some things. So we know if it's going to be a logical adjacent wave pattern, we should make a low in this little box here. But see, this low was made here. Since this low was made before, this time we assume logical system wave compatibility. We know that this pattern most likely isn't done. And we're going to be looking for more likely a 1-1 type of low point. Then you draw your Fibonacci retracement, take your golden box, label that, put that there, put your warning sign, which is the blue level, and then mark out your red level, which you know if you get that low, you're not studying an impulse anymore. You're probably going to go down. So what I'm really hoping for is that this low here, so a low of like a weird WXY, which I do believe because this actually is an ABC. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. And I was wondering what that happened there. And if you look at the time, W, X, Y, usually your X isn't this long, this expensive, but the biggest one is the fact that Y and W will always be within a 1-to-1, within 1/3 of a 1-to-1. Like 90% of the time. The 10% of the time it's not is when Y turns into a triangle, and we know Y it's not. It won't land in that zone because triangles take a lot of time. So if that was to happen, it would be more like this: like A, B, C, D, E. Then it'll move up. right? But it's only with Y or W is a triangle, which is very rare. It's the rarest pattern in the book, so we never assume it. What you do assume is six-way compatibility between W and Y. X usually does lay within that 1-to-1 time frame or that 1/3 time frame. Very rarely does it take this amount of time. So that was the only reason why I kind of was subjective. Like maybe this is a weird, wacko impulse. But again, that's why we know and understand time, price, and structure. We know if this is going to be a start of a wave 1, we know we will not close below this golden box at 24,242. We would at maximum wick to 24,108, but we will never, price will never and should never get to 23,985. If we do, we know we're wrong. We know this, if that happens, we know we're wrong, and this should at bare minimum break this low. If it gets below that, should bare minimum break this low, and at a maximum be what it would be very fearful of being, which is some weird wacko truncating any diagonal just gets really, really low, which I do not believe. Yeah, so that's just the higher time frame expectation implications. We'll cover DXY real quick. I think it's going to be really important. Then we'll get out of here, okay? My initial idea concept with DXY is that we have finished a huge impulse, which is kind of crazy to think about. Because like with our markets and our industry, well, not industry, but like our marketing, you're asking me things. It's like, how inflated can prices get? How big can how much money can these companies absorb? How much wealth? You know, when will it end? When will it end? Will it end when the dollar, we're not stop printing dollars? Will that ever happen? You know, there's a lot of things to think about. But usually when the dollar drifts downwards, stocks and Bitcoin alike drift upwards. That's just what usually happens, right? I don't know like the proper number, but I would argue at least 65% of the time, or 70% of the time or more, of that inverse relationship. And so if DXY made a 5-wave impulse to the upside, we know it's going to retrace to a certain point and at a certain time, right? So minimum time frame we expect. What is a 1/3 of the entire structure, time frame wise, which is right here, with your hot spot being the 1-to-1, plus or minus 1/3, like that. So, at a minimum, this entire move will get retraced, for sure. 100%. Unless for some reason this turns into a weird ending diagonal like this, which could happen. It could happen, but typically, I mean, we already hit that double extension level for wave 3, wave 5, because it mimicked the extension algo of wave 3 rather than wave 1. Might be a 1-to-1 of wave 1. Let's check here real quick, actually. It is just past the 1-to-1. See what wave 3 is. Wave 3 actually dove into this level, so but not the shortest. Very interesting structure here. Maybe it's like a, I don't think it could be because that would be too short a time. I mean, the only thing I can think of is a WXY. And I'm actually never really thought about this until right now. That'd be crazy if that actually does happen. So I'm going to delete everything real quick, okay? Leave those levels up because we know what those levels mean. Because we know what are the golden rules of Elliott Wave is Wave 4 cannot retrace into wave 1 territory unless it's diagonal. And we know the rules of a diagonal, right? It's converging or expanding. If it's converging, wave 1 is usually the longest. Wave 2 and 4 will be very drastically different in both price and time. And wave 3 will never be the shortest. When expanding, it's opposite. Well, wave 2 and 4 will be very drastically different in both price and time. Usually it's 4 the one that takes on both more price and time. Wave 5 is always the longest. Wave 5 at most of the times never hits the boundary of wave 1 and 3 connected. So knowing and understanding that, if this, which we can clearly validly see that this is a 5-way pattern. There's no doubt about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no doubt about that, right? There's no way you can have that one. If this is wave 4, doesn't it retrace into this level? I know it does it just ever so briefly, but it doesn't do it. Like, I don't think there's any exception to that rule, as far as I could remember in the book. And even on a monthly close, it's still, it doesn't get there on a monthly close because the monthly close is here. So, dude, it's right on the border, right? Right on the border. So, what we have to be very mindful of, even though what we really want to be bullish with all this stuff, we have to be very mindful that at some point we have to know where we're wrong and bite the bullet, right? And that will be in DXY. That will be in DXY. If DXY somehow rallies and breaks the 68% level on a close on a daily time frame, or I say on a weekly time frame, which would be at 110.254. If we actually do that, I will be more on the idea that we're in a giant YXY. W, X, Y. A, B, C, double zigzag, right? Or this could be considered flat here. Just depends how far this wave. Yeah, this will be considered a flat here. Like this. Flat, some X wave, zigzag. That would be gnarly. That would be horrible for us, obviously. We don't know. We obviously never know. I'm just throwing up a possible idea. Because, again, initially I want to say this is 1 through 4, 5, but we know rules. Rules are, especially the golden rules value wave. This clearly gets into wave 1 territory and wave 2 territory. That's not indicative of a true impulse. You only do that when you get a diagonal. This is not a diagonal, in my opinion. Especially since wave, well, if wave 5 was longer, maybe we could start considering that. But wave 5 is 1-to-1 of wave 1. So most likely, this is probably not a wave 5. It's probably something else. But time will tell. And what I'm looking for on this chart, to me, is how this pattern develops. Currently, it's a 3-way pattern. And I'm pretty sure there's no other way you could denote that. No, because we extended past the 138.132. Yeah, 1382. We extended past the 1382 on the top side on an extension, and so doing that it's almost like especially like forex or traditional markets, like that's not going to be a corrective pattern. It's probably all it's probably all within. So meaning this is all probably an ABC. We either get an A, B, C, and then one more like either ABC or a 5-way pattern depending on what's going to turn into. And then we go, that'll be it, and we go lower. If we do that, that would for me hold the idea or concept that this is maybe it is actually a 1 through 5, even though this wick in here for one candle close on a monthly time frame. So I'm going to be very keen to be paying attention to DXY. I think it's going to be very important moving forward. Again, I initially really thought I wanted to say that it was an impulse and it completed an impulse, but now just checking back on it, the fact that supposed quote-unquote wave 4 I was analyzing is into the into the zone of wave 1 or wave 2, that's not indicative of what you traditionally would say is an impulse in LA wave. And actually, it's not at all. Like, that cannot happen unless it's a diagonal. And we know the rules of diagonals and how they either, expand or contract and all the ins and outs of them. This doesn't look like that. So I'm very curious moving forward. I'm going to continue to play the low time frame charts. At a minimum, I really do think that Bitcoin's going to, and Ethereum's going to rally. Because to me, this looks like this should do this. And this should give us that room to make that double extension wave 5. And then at that point, we'll really have to see what happens. Is Bitcoin and Ethereum really going to be super bullish? Because what's going to happen is we're going to make that double extension here in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right here, and also and then once this finds ground and rebounds, that's when we're going to retrace for that ABC, that giant ABC I've been talking about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then ABC. That's when we'll start doing that ABC on this rally here. And then depending what happens on the conclusion of this rally at certain levels will determine what we will have to do on our side. In my opinion, if the levels to really watch will probably be 105, 105.60 to 105.80. Like, that's a pretty important level. I think on the close, that's going to be our most important level. If we stay closing underneath that level, we were probably going to be more bearish on DXY and more bullish on our charts. And that will probably give us really, really strong confidence that we're actually in a new phase to the, either a B wave or an actual impulse to the upside. Because if we do fail below this level I'm talking about, this move here, that will be our secondary rally on this side. Well, it should be. So what should happen is, we rally. State this quick. We rally high, make a 5-way pattern, while this is retracing here. Find our top resistance, whatever. A, B, C, while this is doing all this stuff. And then if this is truly going to be what we wanted, which is this side being Bitcoin crypto being bullish, we will fail to close over that level, and we will retrace and break the prior lows. And for us, all that means once this high is made is when this bottom will be made, or very damn close to it. And then, the rest should be history. At a bare minimum, an ABC. At a maximum, 1 through 5. And if it's ABC, we know at a minimum we should assume a 1-to-1. If it's going to be a 1-to-1, at a bare minimum, we would probably get close to, if we get that double extension, hit this order block here, which that's probably where price will end. Being very not overzealous, what do you call it? Just being very mindful, don't expect the craziest numbers, but be very grounded, I guess. There's a certain word for that. Fuck. So after this happens and we retrace, at a bare minimum, we should expect a 1-to-1, which would be 33,500, and a maximum 38 to 41. If that's truly going to happen like that. But we're going to be paying attention to all these, not all these, but just DXY and Ethereum and Bitcoin. Again, if we get this double extension in Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm going to be a lot more confident in the grand scheme of things for at least a year. For at least an entire year, I'll be really confident in what price and time and structure and everything is going to want to do. If we don't get that double extension and we do a retrace and break 23,600 on Bitcoin and break, I would argue 1640, 1635 on Ethereum, I'll be more bearish. But for now, I am leaning more bullish just because the time is taking up here. It's taking a lot of time. If it's going to truly be a reversal, usually it happens very quickly. You'll break a very significant pivot quickly. And the pivot may not be a really high or low, but to me, we didn't break a pivot. After this high was made, if we were truly going to try to reverse this, I think this low at 1635 should have been broken. We're still trading above it. So that's why I believe of the bullish expansion. Structurally, both price and time. Invalid for Ethereum. Validation for Ethereum would obviously be if we start closing below the daily open, or hard stop would be 1631. And for Bitcoin, same concept. Start trading below the daily open or the hourly time frame, 4-hour time frame. Probably gonna be wrong. But hard stop would be probably 23,500. Okay. Anyways, that's about it. I've been running this for 50 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Right on time. So I'm gonna cut this right here. Went over a lot of the high time for implications and stuff like that. No real internal setups or anything like that. But that was not the goal today. We'll probably run another one of these Wednesday morning or something like that. I don't know. Do something. Okay. Expect more from me. I'll tell you that much. Expect more. This is supposed to be ran. I'll actually do these every Monday because I'm gonna have another. I'm gonna be busy on Sunday doing another type of stream shit, but it won't be on YouTube. It'll be somewhere else. So Sundays will be taken up, but Mondays will be public to everybody on YouTube. Okay, and then let's go over high time frame implications, ideas, concepts. And I'll see if I can start working in a live stream during the bulk of the week, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in terms of trading for like the public for free and all that stuff. I'm gonna see if I can find the time, which I should be able to. But the only issue with that is there's only certain times of the day that I want to trade, because most of the times of the day are pretty much bullshit. There's just a lot of sideways and chop and shit like that. I don't want to trade that. I want to trade I want to trade when price delivers, right? So, I'll see if I can find a time frame that makes sense for me, where I'm not tired or in a weird position in terms of time and time frames and stuff like that. And we're trying to get that rolling at least maybe once a week, or maybe I could just do a Thursday version. Because Tuesdays and Wednesdays will be. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Anyways, thank you for tuning in, my friends. The upload will be made. Again, I know we just went over the high time frame stuff like that, but that was the goal in this scenario. I do think we're going to be in a bullish expansion phase this week, and at the conclusion of that, depending on where we go and how high we get, will really give us an understanding of where we should start leaning towards for the grand scheme of things throughout the entire year. That's big in terms of investments, in my opinion. That's big, the entire year. And I'm pretty damn confident that we will know what to do investment-wise for an entire year come the next 2 to 4 weeks. I would say so. Okay? So keep with me. Keep rocking with me. I'll catch y'all next time. Hopefully you run something maybe on a Thursday. Try it in the morning. Catch New York session, something like that, okay? Alright, my friends. Appreciate y'all. This has been your boy, Satoshi Heavy. If you want more from me, more from my team, you visit us at elevate-trading.com. We'll always be there to help curate any content you may see feasible for your benefit, including charts, indicators, and all in between. Alright, my friends. Until Thursday, we'll try catch it, run it, 7:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Thursday. Catch the New York morning session and see if we can make some money making moves. It'll be only low time frame trading and low time frame charts. Nothing over I would say hourly chart. Everything hourly, and all delivery will be made on the 5-minute time frame. So get your stuff ready, get your pens and paper ready, get prepared, mentally prepared, and let's see if we can make some money that day. Okay. So again, I'll catch you on Thursday morning, 7:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Come with me. Let's trade. Try to make some money with your boy, Satoshi Heavy, from Elevate Trading. My boys, my girls, my people. Catch you then. Peace out.
forever.